Okie dokie, here we are for a little sound test. Cats are misbehaving upstairs. So what we've got here today is 4 guitars. We've got 2 Telecasters homemade and an Epiphone Les Paul, what do they call it, Les Paul Standard model with Seymour Duncans in it, and we've got next to it we've got a 1980 K plywood K30 guitar with rally pickups in it. And I'm going to do on both guitars, I'm going to do a little bit of testing because I want to see how easy it is to tell the difference between the 2 sets of pickups. It's not really like I'm trying to catch people out much, but I struggle to tell the difference when I'm listening to things. I couldn't very often pinpoint something and say that is a Seymour Duncan or that is a no-name pickup. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to point the camera down at the amplifier up close for a bit, and I'm just going to do a couple of I'm going to go guess Telecaster 1, Telecaster 2, Les Paul 1, Les Paul 2, and I'll just keep the same guitars but I won't show you what they are, so just be interested to hear if you can see the difference. Now I'm in front, I'm not played for a few days, so there goes a wood lice outside my door. 2 of them, why? Somebody's brought something in. Let me just go and make these go away. Yeah, so it won't be fabulously skillful playing. I'm just going to be trying to just get a bit of a sound going so we can hear what the difference is. I don't know why I've got wood lice running in the house. Come on. Oh, come on, please. Let's get out of here. Come on. Come on. 2 of you out. Right. Solve that problem. Okay, so sorry about that, we'll probably edit that. So to begin with, I'm going to put this down here and I'm going to point it directly at the speaker, or as close as possible, and then I'm going to move these guitars out of the way so you don't need to see what's going on. And I'm going to go from one to the other. Okay, so it's I've probably on these I'll go between clean and dirty sound. So I guess we're going to go Telecaster number 1. Right, so Telecaster number 1 will always be Telecaster number 1 if I can remember what's going on. So Telecaster number 1. Pardon me if it's out of tune. Okay, so I'm just going to play something clean, I guess. Okay. So that's just for your information. That's on a treble or on the bridge pickup only on this Telecaster number 1. What did I play? I've forgotten already. Oh my goodness. So Telecaster number 1 on the middle pickup. That's both middle position, both pickups. Trebles all open and volume is full on. Run to you in the bridge position, chords to heard it through a grapevine on middle position, and in neck position on Telecaster number 1, I'm going to go with oh yeah. On Telecaster. Telecaster number 1. Okay, so switch over time. You can't see. I hope you can't see in the TV screen what's going on. We're going from Telecaster number 1 to Telecaster number 2, and we're going to do the same 3 sort of things, I think. Right, Telecaster number 2. Number 2. Those 2 guitars, and then we'll switch on to oh yeah, okay, so we're going to go Les Paul style guitar number 1. Don't play this one. This is bridge position first of all, and everything tone, volume open. Let me just turn this down. Okay. position in the middle. Oh, so what am I doing? Oh yeah, that was Sweet Child of Mine, and then position. Okay, so in the neck position. Played, that won't help, and I'll play something else or whatever. Neck position. Number 2 on the clean sort of sound. So this is bridge position on Les Paul guitar number 2. So get this in tune. Rightio. So for your information, which guitar do you think this one was? So this is the Harley Benton put together kit, and this is made from, basically a £56 kit from Thomann online music retailer. It's their brand, their Harley Benton brand, and so I bought this to put it together and see how it sounded, or how it played, and what we could do with it. And I've sort of made a few modifications, mainly to put some ToneRider pickups in instead of the originals. The originals are still out in the shed waiting to be used on something else. So we've got pretty much all original except for the pickups, and I've also moved the bridge forward a little bit because the holes were in the wrong place, just slightly, but not a big deal. I could just about intonate it the way it was, but it had all the springs scrunched up against the plate, which wasn't a great thing really. It doesn't give you any room for manoeuvre. And apart from that, I've done just a bit of basic staining followed by some true oil, and on the neck I've done some light vintage lacquer and kind of put a Reloved logo on it and called it quits. So it's got the original tuners that it came with, which seem to be working pretty well. It's got a sticky control plate, which is a bit stiff, and I might replace that. It's got a nice tone to it. I quite like the ToneRiders. So the question is, based on those samples, was this guitar number 1 or was it guitar number 2 in the Telecasters? And the ToneRiders are twice the price of the Wilkinson ones, at least. It's got a nice tone. I like these ToneRiders, they're pretty good. But for your information, this guitar was number 2 in the sound comparison thing. So there are a couple of minor flaws about this guitar that I don't like, but for £57 basic price you can't complain. First of all, the switch here is really stiff, and it actually makes it quite difficult to get it out from the bridge position and flip it out. You find yourself sort of doing all kinds of things. That's annoying, and I can't think of an easy way of fixing that. Another tiny annoyance was the bridge being out of place, but that was easy enough to fix. This one here, the black plastic backing plate that goes underneath the metal hangs over the edge here just slightly. It's no problem, it doesn't interfere with playing, but it's a little bit tacky. And other than that, the only other criticism I have about this guitar is the fact that the body, as supplied, is too light. It's made of basswood, and it's not heavy enough, so just as a standard it's neck heavy. So I've had to fill in any spare spaces in here, little bits of lead shot in plastic bags. You haven't got a lot of room to play with unless you dig some more holes out under here if you want to do that, and fill those yourself with lead shot. But you know, you're taking wood out to replace it with lead. You'll get there in the end. I've just about managed to balance it based on the available space in here. But for £56 or something, it's not bad at all. Plays really well. The neck was surprisingly good condition. It came playable from the off. I deliberately strung it, finished making it, put it together and strung it up, and played it as if it were out of the box, and it played pretty well. So a newcomer to it would have enjoyed playing it straight out of the box. There were no major problems. Even the wiring inside on the originals, obviously not on the replacements that I did, but on the originals the wiring was just snapped together connectors, so there wasn't even a need for a youngster getting into guitar making to pull out the soldering iron, which of course you'd want to do at some point, but just for ease you could have this going within a day, you know, a few hours without any extra special equipment needed. So I think it scores incredibly highly, and I guess I spent another £65 or something on the ToneRiders to go in here, which complicated it a little bit because you have to then use soldering iron. But you know, the tonal increase is pretty nice, or the improvement's pretty nice. However, reviews on the Thomann website universally say that the stock pickups that this comes with are really adequate, completely capable of sounding like a Telecaster. Some say lacking in refinement, but what do you expect for £55 or something? So there you go. That was guitar number 2 in the tone comparison. So if you didn't get that, shame on you. If you thought that guitar number 2 was the better sounding one, number 1, you've just voted for the Wilkinson pickups over the twice as expensive ToneRiders. So everything about this one, there's something about the way the Wilkinson have made their pickups that they kind of do what you expect them to do for a Telecaster, which is, then in a way they're not as, to my ear, they're not quite as defined, and as the combinations of pickups, the sounds from the combinations aren't as distinctive as they are on the ToneRiders. But as an all-rounder, these seem to, I don't know, they're warmer to begin with, and that kind of gets your vote. And if you like this sound best, that's probably why. Very well rounded. These are more distinct and there's more variation between the 3 combinations of tones, or the 3 tones. This one tends to be a bit more samey. It's not as harsh, not as cutting. So it's less of the extremes in all departments, but it makes a more palatable sound in a way. So I think you'd be forgiven for liking these better than the ToneRiders. So this is a homemade Telecaster, and it's made from a Squire Classic Vibe neck, which I refretted because the frets were pretty worn out. So I've refretted that, and then I've bought online a pine Telecaster body, which is the standard thickness body, which by comparison to that one is not only is pine a little bit denser, I think, than the basswood, and a little bit heavier, so it balances out a little bit better. I've also then fitted the Wilkinson ashtray bridge, which has got the brass saddles, pairs of brass saddles in there, and they're compensated as well, which is pretty good. This is a sort of no-name-ish control plate, which is perfectly acceptable. This is a scratch plate from Vanson's. Both these guitars are shielded with copper all the way through, and they're earthed in lots of ways, different ways. So they're pretty, should be fairly noise free. In fact, they are pretty noise free. Yeah, so this is, again, this one, the neck mated to this one pretty well straight away. I made my own jack plate because the one I ordered took about 3 weeks to turn up and couldn't wait. Again, this is stained slightly with some similar colours and a little bit of a light true oil finish, which I've scuffed back to slightly silky looking, and it has a Squire plate on the back, and it also has Vanson locking tuners, which is quite nice. Makes stringing a little bit easier, and it has a sort of Fender-y style, or a Classic Vibe style. Actually, no, it's a Fender style string tree up there. So this is a sturdier guitar in some ways. It weighs a little bit more substantial, and the neck is, it has that thick Classic Vibe lacquer, which some people hate. And actually, I made a screw up on here of tightening down one of these screws a bit too much, and the lacquer is quite brittle and it's split along there. But there you go, that's the price you pay. So comparing the two, which do I like best? Interesting question, really. I like the feel of this one better because to my mind, it's a thicker body, and I just love the Classic Vibe neck, I have to say. Some people are rosewood fans, that's their thing. I cut this one to shape myself, by the way. That's a copy, a template cut. But I like the feel of this one because of the lacquer, the thick lacquered neck. I really like that. Some people hate it and scuff it off with wet and dry as soon as they can. And I'm happy with the pickups out of this, or the pickup sounds, or the sounds from the pickups here. But I do recognise they're not as credible, or I think they're not as authentic a sound as the ToneRiders. I think the ToneRiders have got it better. Okay, so that's just a quick comparison between the two. So if I were going to keep one of these, well, I'd probably keep this one, because just the feel of it's just a bit more for me. That one though, with the ToneRiders in, it's got the authentic Telecaster tones, I think, and I think it's got more aggression in or more bite in the bridge pickup than this one. This is a, as I say, it's a softer, more user-friendly all-round tones, I think. Again, I said on the Facebook thing, this is incredibly subjective because I'm not an expert in pickups by any means, but it just makes me feel this is sort of not dumbed down, but it's just nice. It's middle of the road sound off here. There's no extremes, but it doesn't matter. It's still a nice enough tone to use. But that one is a bit more authentic, I think. Now here's the next bit of this. I'm going to switch across to the Les Paul copies, and this guitar, this is Gary's Epiphone Les Paul model standard, Les Paul Standard. And I haven't done anything to this, so I've got it in to do a little bit of a setup on it for him, and it's a nice looking guitar. It kind of reminds me of my Rally GL300 a little bit, but I've been interested to get my hands on a Les Paul copy, an Epiphone Les Paul copy with the set neck for a while. I've had some Epiphones before and they've been fine, you know. What I'm not sure about though with Epiphones, I've never really quite understood what the extra, apart from the fact the connection with Gibson, what's the extra, why do they command a slightly bigger premium, higher premium on the price? So you might find a vintage Les Paul copy for, you know, on eBay for maybe 140, 150 quid. You'll almost never see an Epiphone Les Paul copy with a set neck for the same kind of money. So I'm just interested to know, why is it 50 odd quid's difference? Is it that good? So first impressions are, I'm not sure in holding it and feeling it, could I tell the difference between this in a vintage V100. I get a feeling that the neck feels a little bit chunkier down here than the V100. Again, this is purely subjective, so I'm not telling you any truths here. On this you've got Grovers of some description. They look a little bit cheap, the cheaper make, the kind of moulded buttons when you see a line down the middle. Really good quality Grovers don't seem to have that line as far as I've seen. Anyway, what have we got? We've got the standard, a nice flame looking top on this. We've got a nice dark, it's almost cherry cream binding. It's darker than cream, but it's nice. It matches the cherry of this. We've got standard stuff for controls like you get anywhere. A pretty standard looking tunematic bridge with a clip retainer. In this one the screws facing forward. Standard stop piece, which looks pretty bog standard three-way switch. And it obviously had a scratch plate on here, but it's gone. And we've got Seymour Duncans in this, which there's a bit of crackle here, so. Now, can I tell you right now how those differ in my opinion from the Wilkinson humbuckers that you'll find in a V100, because I know these are not standard on this, but you know, I've got a couple of sets of Seymour Duncans myself, and I'm still not, honestly, if I'm totally honest, not able to describe to you what's the difference between those and a good set of Wilkinson pickups. Other people can. I haven't got that experience yet. There's a warmth about them, that's about all I can say. But again, it's subjective descriptions. And they sound quite good in the clean setting, whereas in the distorted setting they didn't perform as well. Were the second set, so they were Les Paul guitar number 2. I didn't play anything that good to demonstrate them either, but and neither guitar was perfectly in tune, but very nice sounding in the clean position. So yeah, looking forward to just tweaking this a little bit. I think Gary wants me to make it as easy to play as possible, and I can see already there is a little bit of excess height over the first fret here, which we can take down, and that will lighten it up. He's a singer and doesn't play a lot of guitar, so he wants it to be as easy to fret chords down here as possible. And I can see that the first fret action on this E string is probably close to a millimetre, which is kind of quite a bit above what I would like it to be. But yeah, nice thing. Hard to evaluate with its regular Epiphone pickups because it's got the Seymour Duncans in it, which I think probably do make it a lot nicer guitar. The neck itself doesn't feel to be any problem. However, a quick look down this neck shows me we've got a straight one end and a straight one side and a curve relief the other side. So we've got a slightly uneven neck. Straight, relatively straight down here, slightly concave down this side, and it's quite common, I find that. Not a lot I can do about it other than to pretty much set, if I'm fret leveling, I tune luckily using a tunable fret leveling tool, unlike a radius block or a single beam. Doing it the strung way with the curved, with the neck in a curved setup and with a curved tool, allows me to tune the curve differently as I go across. So I will set it up to play as well as I can first, and then I will tune the tool to this edge, which will be a much smaller curve, or more cat fights, a much smaller amount of curvature than by the time I come across here, and I'll retune it to match this side, which will have a much greater relief in it. So we'll get the fret leveling done if this needs fret leveling. But so I guess what I'm saying is that the tunable fret leveling tool approach to fret leveling, it can accommodate these kinds of necks with a completely different relief profile on one side to the other. And you'd think it was hard to be, you wouldn't think it was possible, but it is, and it does change. And that's why doing it this way, where you tune the tool as you come across the radius, is really useful, because you don't just kind of try and impose one radius on a neck that's actually dynamically quite different either side. Don't ask me why it's different either side. I've never really worked out the physics behind it or thought about it, but I can see it's almost convex. It's flat to convex down the treble side, and it's slightly concave down the bass side. Anyway, it's a lovely looking thing. I would be happy to have that. Nothing about the construction is offensive. Is it any better than the V100s? I think it is a little tidier actually. The joints are just, from my recollection, the joints are probably, the way the binding and everything meets, just that little bit more precise. There's no kind of gloops of lacquer. It's all fits together really nicely. Some of the V100s I've seen do feel a little bit kind of agricultural in that respect. And I'm just going to compare it here to my my GL300 by Raleigh, and this guitar is, as you can see, a sort of similar style in a way. I've also put Seymour Duncans in this, and the question for me is, are these two pretty much identical, excuse me, in terms of quality? And I would say yes, and the only difference being is in the past mine's taken a small knock, and the lacquer around the neck joint has cracked, which is fine because I keep it for my own playing pleasure. The neck, the headstock is quite a bit different on this one, and I've got, what have I got? Got the original Raleigh tuners on here as well. So everything about this construction and this feels so incredibly similar. Even the way the neck, the fingerboard sits kind of height above the body and everything. So very, very similar construction, and who knows, why wouldn't they be in the same factory? Raleigh is apparently a Korean manufacturer, but produces guitars in China. Epiphone is, Gibson subsidiary, but produces its guitars in China. So there's no reason why these two little fellas didn't come from the same factory even. In fact, they're so, apart from the headstock, the Raleigh is just slightly thicker around the joint, around the angle at the top, and the angle's slightly different. But apart from that, they are very, very similar in every way in construction. So I would put these two on a par with each other. The only thing I found about that really got me into the Raleighs straight away was the setup that they come with. So far as the few that I've had are concerned, has been absolutely phenomenal, with so little work needing to do to make them play better. This one seems quite well set up as it is, but it's been owned by a few people, so it may have been the setup may have been improved. But I love this thing, but it's absolutely as low and as fast as you can get. One day in the not too distant future it will require refretting, but I'll be happy to do it and keen to keep hold of it. So that was guitar number 2 in the Les Paul test, and guitar number 1 was this lovely old ropey K30 from 1980, and fitted with Raleigh pickups. In fact, these are the pickups that came out of that Raleigh guitar. And I wanted to check, obviously, how well they made this guitar play, and I really like how they sound. When I first had that Raleigh, there was nothing about it that made me need or want to change the pickups, and actually it was only because I came across a set of Seymour Duncans in part exchange for some work that I changed them over. But they're one of the few guitars that I'd never felt any urge to change the pickups on. So having put them into this plywood Les Paul copy from 1980, which has pretty much had everything replaced on it. So it's got replacement tuners, which are, I don't quite remember where they came from, but they're replacement tuners. It's been refretted, it's rewired, it's had the electrics changed, new pickups obviously, and it's been shielded out as well, giving some extra shielding throughout all the cavities. So this is not what it used to be. This is a much nicer guitar, and of course it has a great action to match that you wouldn't have got with your original Ks. So there you go. That's the that was guitar number 1 in the sound test. So if you like this better in the sound test than you like that one, that's just interesting. It might have convinced you otherwise if somebody with real fabulous wiggly guitar skills had demonstrated it. But hey, so I hope that was kind of interesting. Just to see. I'm not sure. Sometimes I can tell the difference in just hearing pickups. I can say what I like and don't like, but I'm not entirely sure whether I can tell you what they are or which are intrinsically better than others. But this guitar, this old K, what I do know is this old K, for example, with these Raleigh pickups in it, sounds just way better than the horrible fake humbuckers that they used to have in it. Anyway, that will be it for now. Yeah, thanks for sticking it out and having a look at these different guitars with me. And if I keep that one, don't be surprised, but I may well put that one on eBay shortly. Despite having made it from scratch and enjoyed the process, and despite the pickups being slightly better, I prefer the weight of this one and the glossy neck. I'm a sucker for these, and I just sold another guitar with the the Telecaster version of this neck, which I kind of miss, so I might keep that one. Anyway, thanks for spending time with me, and I'll see you soon on another video from Reloved Guitars. Bye bye.